Alright. I have not booted up this game in weeks. It has been a while. Not that I miss it exactly. Okay, I guess I kind of miss it. Admittedly, I have been kind of messing around with the DLC recently. I've been playing around with the side order stuff. Because, to be honest, I never actually did the perfect run, the limited run, whatever, where you do the 8 hero shooter, and you can only use like 4 power-ups. I never actually did that run. So I was kind of, you know, curious. That's to be expected. So I did a few runs of that, because I had a little bit of time. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. Of course, there's another Splatoon thing that I forgot to put in the show notes, but, whatever. I haven't booted up this game in a while. Well, like I said. We haven't done this game on stream at all this year? Yeah, that sounds right. I don't think we've played this game once this year. Because, you know, we did a Mario game? Odyssey, maybe? And then after that, we did, Donkey Kong, which we've been working on, and we will beat next week. Hopefully. So, I'm on Team White Chocolate. Why Team White Chocolate? Because last time they did the Chocolate Splatfest, I was kind of torn between milk chocolate and white chocolate. I ended up going with milk chocolate. Milk chocolate got their asses kicked. But this time, you know, since I'm given it another chance, I was like, you know what? I like white chocolate. I might as well. I know some people don't like these redo Splatfests, right? Where it's like, oh, let's just, you know, run it back. But honestly, I don't mind. If it keeps the game around a little longer, you know, breathe some new life into things, especially while we're waiting on whatever the Switch 2 is going to be, I have no problem with that. I'm having a good time, you know, and it's always nice to have, you know, another chance to get some salty sea snails, even though I never use them. You know, I have to break 300 before the game ends. I actually have no idea how far away we are from that. So I went and got Macca's today because they have a new like barbecue bacon quarter pounder, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll try it. I forgot to put this in the food stuff later, so I might as well just talk about it now. And yeah, and so I literally this was right before stream. And so it's a barbecue, bacon, whatever. It comes with fries and an orange soda. A high C orange. And I was like, oh, I like a good orange soda. Sure, I'll just keep that. The orange soda they gave me, when I looked at it, when they like handed it to me, it looked like piss. It was like a bright, it was kind of like, it's a very bright orange. It's very transparent, right? Like, I don't remember you always being able to see through a high C orange. You can definitely see through this. But it was very bright. Maybe it was probably just the shitty car lights and everything. But yeah, it looked like piss. Of course, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it looks like a high C orange, right? It looks orange. Still very light, very transparent. Why is it light? Why is it transparent? Because they're running out of syrup, right? The machine uses syrup. They're almost out. So it looks transparent because it's more water than it is syrup. It's basically watered down, for lack of a better term. And so I was like, okay, you know, let me take a drink. Oh my god, it is so watered down. It's like a LaCroix, right? It's transported in a truck next to a crate of lemons. But not, or oranges, I mean. But it's not actually, like, orange flavored. I did, however, get a Shamrock Shake as well. Because even though, you know what? I fucking hate mint toothpaste. Like, when I have toothpaste, I want it to taste like nothing. I fucking hate mint toothpaste. And I hate that that's all anybody makes. All they make is fucking mint toothpaste. Which is awful. You know, I'd rather have my toothpaste taste like chemical. Like just fucking baking soda. Than I would have it taste like mint. But because we associate mint with cleanliness... And I don't want, like, I know there are, like, companies that do, like, oh, you know, we do red velvet. I know, what is the, not Dollar Shave Club. One of those shaving companies does toothpaste as well, and they do, like, a rainbow unicorn one. And it's like, okay, you know, you're trying something different, but it's a kid's flavor. I'm not gonna do that. So, yeah, all you can find... Admittedly, I've seen the charcoal one, and the charcoal one is better. Currently, I just have some generic mint one, and I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Because you really can't find non-mint toothpaste. At least good non-mint toothpaste. But, okay, so I hate mint, right? I want to make that very clear. It's not like strawberry where I'm allergic to it. I just hate mint. And yet, I like a Shamrock Shake. There's just something about the Shamrock Shake that, I don't know, does it for me, I guess. So getting a Shamrock Shake, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be great. And it was. I did enjoy it. But having this, and the barbecue bacon quarter pounder, whatever, it was whatever. You know, the barbecue sauce added a little bit. But, you know, it's still McDonald's in 2025. It's not that great. But I usually really like High C Orange from... Right, the Orange Lava Burst. And this just ain't it. It just tastes like nothing. So for news tonight, we got stories on the Switch sales figures, which we got information about that today. We got news about Rooster Teeth. We got, almost a year out from their demise. We got some information about them. We got some information on the Switch 2, both, you know, officially from Nintendo, and some patent stuff, and I want to talk about them both. And finally, I got a thing about Pikmin that I don't think means anything, but I'm going to bring it up anyways, just because it's weird, and I don't know if it's weird Nintendo decision weird, or if it's hinting at something. Alright, so let's talk about Switch 2 sales. So, Nintendo had we knew the Switch was going to be announced before February 4th, the Switch 2, because Nintendo had their quarterly earnings reports, where they talked about new stuff about the Switch 2. So in the quarterly earnings report, the Switch, now, as of December 31st, 2024, has sold over 150 million units. That makes it the third best-selling console of all time. Just a little over, just about 5 million away from the Nintendo DS, which sold 155 million, and 6 or 7 million away from the PS2, which sold, I don't know, originally the PS2, I swear the PS2 was at like 155. But then as the Switch started to, you know, get close to catching up to it, Sony upped the number to 156. And then I swear, like, last month, they upped the number again to 157. Because here's the thing. Even though the PS2 went off the market in, like, 2008-ish, it continued to sell in, you know, non-American countries until, like, 2017. Specifically as a DVD player. The PS2 was probably is probably the most popular DVD player on the market. That's why. That's why the PS2 sales are so crazy. And there's obviously this fact that, you know, PlayStation doesn't want to lose the record of best-selling console. That's why the number keeps going up by 1 million, you know, every year or so. Because even though, you know, they're not selling more PS2s, because I swear the console went off production in, like, 2017, 2018. You know, they don't want to lose that record. And, like, who the fuck's gonna fact check, you know? But Nintendo's about to... Nintendo did come out and say that they have no plans to lower the Switch's price at this point. That the Switch is still doing well. They're not going to, you know, lower the price to $150 or to, you know, $150 for a Lite, you know, $200 for the normal Switch, $250 for an OLED. Even though, you know, a price reduction would probably sell, you know, a few more Switches. No, Nintendo has said at the moment they have no plans to do that. And it doesn't really surprise me. It's Nintendo. They don't put anything on sale. So them not putting this on sale, that's not really a surprise. But yeah, do I think they're gonna beat 155 million, or, you know, do I think the Switch is gonna be the best-selling console of all time? Probably not. I think it's gonna get close. Because clearly Nintendo's gonna keep releasing Switch 1 games for probably the next year. So I'm assuming they're gonna get close, but they're probably not gonna cross that 155 or 157 or whatever the number needs to be. They're probably not gonna hit that, which kind of sucks, you know. Okay, to be fair, I shouldn't have any personal beef in this game. I totally understand. Like, if you look at the Switch and are like, yeah, this is the best-selling console, I'd get it. There's something magical about the Switch. I know it's an old console. I know it's got its issues. It still is kind of magical in some ways. It's got a great library of games. So, I don't know. I guess part of it is just the smugness of PlayStation. That I want to see PlayStation get... What's the word I'm looking for? Put in their place? Maybe that's it? I don't know. PlayStation... The fact that the PS5 has sold like 65 million units. It's a console that should not have sold 65 million units. I have one. It's okay. It's got some good games. The PS5 should not be at 65 million. I think the Xbox Series X is at like 30 million. Xbox Series X and Series S combined. And I kind of feel like the PS5 should be kind of around the same place. Like, probably ahead of it, like maybe at 40 million. But 65... there's not enough. Like, the PS4, I totally get. The PS4 had some great stuff on it. It had a legacy of good games. You know, a lot of great exclusives. The PS5 just doesn't have that. And it's just, you know, it's selling better than the Xbox. And you know, it's crazy, because if you had asked me at the start of this generation who was going to do better, I think I did say Xbox. Only because of Game Pass. Because Game Pass is a great deal. And I bet that Game Pass is also part of why the Xbox hasn't sold over like 30, is because, you know, you can just get Game Pass on PC. Why would you buy you know, you can use the streaming services built into Game Pass. You know, Xbox is doing an entire marketing campaign around, you know, how any console can be an Xbox. You know, your TV, your Roku, your... I don't know if Google has it. I know my Samsung TV has it. Right? Anything can be an Xbox. And I bet that is, at least in some ways, chipping into the Xbox, you know, ecosystem. But no, okay, 150 million. Yeah, they're doing good. They might do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. They might beat the DS. I think there's a good chance they beat the DS with, again, 154. But I don't think they're going to do much higher than that. I don't think they're going to beat that. Other sales we got. Echoes of Wisdom has sold 3.91 million. That's not bad. Again, Zelda is, you know, one of Nintendo's 4 big franchises. A game that, you know, is probably, maybe, potentially the weakest Zelda game on Switch. I know some people will say Link's Awakening. I am very personally biased towards Link's Awakening. I kind of get, you know, Zelda's just very popular. It does very well. I get it. What can I say? Mario Party Jamboree, or Super Mario Party Jamboree, sold 6.17 million. That makes it not, so that's not the best-selling Mario Party game on Switch, obviously, because Super Mario Party sold like 20 million. But it is now the fastest-selling Mario Party game. You know, between its release in October and, you know, these numbers from December, that makes it the fastest-selling Mario Party game. To sell over 6 million in just that time, that's kind of crazy. And you know what? Honestly, it's a really good game, so I kind of get why it sold that well. Because, yeah, Super Mario Party Jamboree is a really good Mario Party. And because it has online multiplayer, you know, instead of like with Super Mario Party where I just bought one copy, and then me and my friends just played that one copy, for Mario Party Jamboree, we each bought our own copy, and we each played it. And we played it all October long, and we had a great time with it. Admittedly, I haven't touched it since, but those few weeks in October and probably early November were so much fun. Oh my gosh. Mario and Luigi Brothership has sold 1.84 million. It's okay. You know, that's okay. Not as well as the other Mario Party RPG, or the other Mario RPG. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door has sold over 2.06 million. Now, admittedly, that's from, what, May to December? Whereas Brothership is just November and December. It might be a little bit, it might also include January. But that's definitely at least November and December. So, I mean, to almost beat Thousand Year Door in just 2 months, that's not bad. And then finally, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which I think released in June, sold 1.8 million. That's not exactly great. I mean, compared to 3, which I think Luigi's Mansion 3 sold like 20 million units. I don't know, I don't have the sales charts on me, but I want to say Luigi's Mansion 3 did really well. Whereas this, people are just a lot less interested in this remake, and honestly, I don't blame them. After playing the remake last year, I was not all that impressed. Not at all. So that's where Nintendo sales figures are. Of course, there was no information on the Switch 2, so we're still, you know, a ways away from that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But for the moment, you know, Switch sales are still... It's definitely declining, but, you know, that was to be expected. We are on March 3rd is the 8-year anniversary. At least I'm pretty sure it's the 8-year anniversary. That sounds right in my head. 8 years with the Nintendo Switch, you are bound to see a downfall. But to still see a Zelda game do almost 4 million just in, you know, a few months. Was it September or October? It must have been September. That's not bad. That ain't bad at all. I actually want... Mark Brown put out a video today about redesigning the menu layouts for Echoes of Wisdom. Really entertaining video, you know? Well, do I still want him to eventually do a boss keys on Echoes of Wisdom to be justified in my assertion that the dungeons are not that good? Yes. But did I enjoy his UI video? Also, yes. I really liked his final solution. Just spoilers for the video, I guess. I'd recommend watching it. But his final solution is like I don't want to call it like a staircase. I guess staircase makes sense. But it's basically like a wheel, right? Where it scrolls up as you get higher, taking influence from Beyond Good and Evil. I have never played Beyond Good and Evil. I have never seen the Beyond Good and Evil menu. So that was a really interesting thing. But I totally see how that works really well. Like, my idea when I played Echoes of Wisdom to fix the UI was the radial wheel. Kind of like Mario Maker 2, which was his, I think it was his third option, maybe his fourth option. He has that idea. Right, he uses that. And I think that was also Game Explained. But that was always my solution. The PlayStation 3 menu, can I be honest? I never liked the PlayStation 3 menu. Like, I get how it works, but I've never actually been a big fan of it. The PlayStation 3 menu, I don't want to say I found it confusing. I just never really cared for it. Oh, look at that team. But yeah, it was entertaining, you know. Not that I'm gonna like go and play around with it, because he did release a demo of it on itch.io, but I definitely see how that solution would have helped the game out a lot. Specifically that last one. I really did like that last one. So our next story, speaking of YouTubers, so about a year ago, Rooster Teeth was shut down by Warner Brothers. And at the time, you know, some of the creators went off to do their own things. You know, Face Jam became 100% Eat. Fuckface became Regulation Podcast. I think Red Web stayed Red Web. I don't know. Admittedly, I didn't watch much of Red Web. Didn't listen to it. And, you know, some of the people did other things. As far as I know, Ruby was sold off to VisiPop? Was that what it was called? Oh, maybe it's Viz Media. VisiPop's the Has-Been Hotel person. No, it's Viz Media is the word I was looking for. So, you know, some of the assets got divided. But on Wednesday this week, it was announced that Bernie Burns, one of the original 4 founders of the company, has rebought Rooster, at least the brand Rooster Teeth. Admittedly, he did a whole podcast where he talked about, you know, what they have access to, what they don't have access to. Like, I know they don't have access to Ruby, that Viz Media officially owns Ruby now, so they don't have access to that one. But they have access to, you know, some of the other things. I admittedly don't know about Red and Blue either. Red versus Blue. I don't know about that one. And I know, like, a lot of the podcasts, like, you know, the 3 I just mentioned, they bought back their own material. So, like, you know, Regulation Pod bought back everything they owned, you know, their previous episodes, their RSS feed, the Gerpler, stuff like that. But yeah, Rooster Teeth is back from the dead. I know Bernie on his podcast, I want to say it's like Good Morning Somewheres or something like that, made, you know, he talked about it. What does this mean? Admittedly, I did not listen to it. I don't know, man. I liked Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, but when they died, I had kind of been out of there for like 2 years at that point. Yeah, I couldn't tell you when I stopped. I know it was before, you know, all the stuff happened with Matt, and, you know, Caden came out and everything. I know it was before that. And it was just kind of a, you know, a thing where it's like my tastes had changed, you know. I just wasn't as interested anymore. Every once in a while they do something where I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm interested in this. That sounds like a fun video. But for the most part, I didn't really watch them. You know, kind of like with the Yogscast, right? I don't really watch the Yogscast, but every once in a while I'll see a video in my feed. Because I've been subscribed to them for, God, probably coming up on like 15 years at this point. That sounds crazy, but I think it's 2010, 2011. So I've been, right, and every once in a while, like Civilization 6 came out, or 7. Civ 7 came out. And of course the Yogscast are going to play Civ 7. The Yogscast got me into Civilization way back with Civ 5. So of course I'm going to watch the Yogscast play Civ 7. Yeah, like, it's kind of a no-brainer. But other than that, you know, I don't really watch the Yogscast anymore. And that's just kind of how these things go. But, you know, I'd rather have them have their company back than, you know, just it all going into the Warner Brothers vault where it will be lost forever. Because that would fucking suck. We already see what Warner Brothers does to everything else. I mean, it's been almost a year since they shelved Coyote versus Acme or whatever the movie was called, and Batgirl. That was like it was either a year ago or it's been over a year now. It was like December of 23, which is wild. Fuck Warner Brothers for that, man. I know we're going to talk about DC Comics in a little bit, and I actually don't have many positive things to say about the new episode, but, you know, Warner Brothers is a fucking shit show, and hopefully, you know, people have learned their lesson that don't sell out, right? Drop out, second try, other people doing these things, don't sell to a corporation. It never ends well. Whether that be, you know, and you'd think people would have learned their lesson before this. No, be that Maker Studio, What Happened to College Humor the First Time, Rooster Teeth, other examples. They never learn. They never do. Alright, next up, so also on the same day, we got right, this was right after that Nintendo showing. We got some updates on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Basically, Nintendo confirmed, because it was February 1st, 2nd? It was February 4th. Whatever it was, basically Nintendo doubled down and confirmed that, hey, yes, the Nintendo Direct is April 2nd, and it's going to be at 6 a.m. Pacific time. So that's 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern time. So it's early in the morning, like most of the recent Nintendo Directs. They're doing it super early in the morning. And yeah, I'm not really surprised by this time at all. There was a part of me that hopes they were going to do it late at night, which would be early in the morning in Japan. Because they did, for the original Switch reveal, they did do that. They're not doing a live event. This is going to be, you know, a Nintendo Direct. It's going to be a pre-recorded thing, which I do think is for the best. Even though, you know, the Nintendo Switch 2, or the Nintendo Switch reveal direct, or reveal showcase in January of 2017, like, it was fine. But I really do feel like Nintendo has nailed the direct format at this point. But yeah, 6 a.m. Does that mean, am I going to be able to stream the Nintendo Direct? Because I, you know, work early in the morning. Am I going to be able to do that? And I really think it depends on how long it is. If the Direct is an hour, then yes, I will be able to do it. If it's any longer than that, I don't think I will. I think my cutoff would be like, because I would have to get to work. I think my cutoff would be an hour and like 10 minutes. Because then that would leave me, you know, enough time to get to work and everything. So that way I could get there by, you know, 7:30. Yeah, that sounds right. So my plan at the moment is literally for that day, which is over almost 2 months away still. It's a little less than 2 months away. My plan at the moment is literally just to, you know, get up an hour earlier, do all the stuff to get ready for work, and then just stream the Direct, do all that, and then the second it ends, I just run off. That's my plan at the moment. So yes, I do intend to stream it, because literally, you know, sitting at work for... I think it's a Wednesday, so sitting at work for anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours, because yeah, it is a Wednesday, that would, you know, knowing the Nintendo Direct is happening in the background, oh, that'd kill me. Just not being able to do shit about it. But no, I think I'll be fine. I'm, at this moment, not really worried. So, the other reason I bring this story up, there was a lot of hope that, maybe this week we would be getting a Switch 2 Direct. The Switch 2, or a Switch 1 Direct, I mean. There was a lot of hope that we would get a Switch 1 Direct this week, because Nintendo Switch 2 at earliest is like May. Earliest is May. More likely it's in June. And when I say May, I'm saying like May 22nd. So there's games that Nintendo's probably going to release in March or April. And we don't know anything about that at the moment. Well, okay, we know about a March game. I mean an April game. We don't know anything about an April game. And there's potentially a May game in there as well. So, besides for the Pokemon Direct, which we know is going to be on the 27th, or 26th, or whatever, we don't know anything coming from Nintendo. So there was hopes that we were going to get a Nintendo Direct this week. There also seems to be rumors spiraling that we're going to get a PlayStation Direct next week. Probably like the day before Valentine's Day. Maybe the day before that. Maybe the 12th. But, with them coming out to re-announce this and to give us a time slot, makes it feel less likely that we're going to get a Nintendo Switch 1 Direct. We will probably still get something. I bet, they'll do a classic Twitter Direct. I would not be surprised at all if Nintendo does a Twitter Direct like next week or something. Of course, it has happened at least once in the past that Nintendo and PlayStation did a showcase on the same day. I want to say that presentation was in Indie World, followed by a PlayStation State of Play. But it would not at all surprise me if we get both of those on the same day. I think it is totally possible. They could be one day apart, obviously. Nintendo could wait until later in the month. I know they're not going to do it the same week as Pokemon. They'd probably do it the week before. But I still think we're getting something. I really do think we're going to get something. Because it'd just be weird to get nothing. Because I think there's a Switch game... Oh, what the fuck? I know, friendly, whatever. I do stand by. I think there is at least one Switch game coming out in April or May. If not both. Because, again, it depends on when if the Switch 2 launches in June. I would say both. But if it launches in May, then it's probably only one. Again, it depends on the launch title as well. Because, Metroid Prime 4 is probably releasing on both consoles. Whereas Metroid Dread, or Mario Kart's definitely only on the new one. So it just kind of depends at this moment. But yeah, there's my update for that. Next up, so Nintendo officially filed their patents for their new Joy-Cons. We knew the new Switch 2 Joy-Cons, they have all these new features that we don't know anything about. And there are still some mysteries we have, specifically revolving around, like, the C button, which we know nothing about. But we did get some answers, and we did get some new information. Specifically, the whole bit about the Joy-Cons being used as a mouse, this patent information practically confirms it. It is now basically 99% confirmed that the new Joy-Cons are going to work like a mouse. You literally see a drawing of the Joy-Cons being on their side with someone holding it like a computer mouse. Do I still think it's going to be kind of weird? Yeah, definitely. But I still think it's a step in the right direction. So that's basically been confirmed. The other part that was confirmed, the right Joy-Con will have an NFC sensor. So yes, you will be able to use Amiibo on Switch 2. Does this have any farther implications? No. No, it does not, because, this could just be for games like Smash Bros. And Mario Kart 8, that, you can already use Amiibo in. So, I don't see this as having any farther implications. Does this mean that Amiibo probably aren't dead? Yeah, probably, but I don't know what else they're gonna do. But it's, probably a good sign, or at least a decent one. So those were the two things that we, had been rumored that we basically got confirmed. Some other stuff in here is the, we see what looks like a charging station. So it looks like, it's like a flat sheet, and you put the Joy-Cons on it. Weirdly enough, you don't put the Joy-Cons on in the same direction. Instead of like, oh, you know, you just place them down like you would toast in a toaster. One Joy-Con goes one way, and then the other Joy-Con goes upside down. And again, it looks like a charging cradle or a charging station or whatnot. That's kind of weird. Like, I feel like it'd be easier, and, you know, it would make more sense for people if you just kind of said, like, oh, you know, they both go on this. Like, you break them off the Switch, and then you just put them down the way you hold it. Whereas with the image in the diagram, you have to turn one upside down. I think it's the left one. So that's just kind of weird. Oh, and also speaking of plugging in the Joy-Cons to charge them, you know, there's been a lot of talk about that little, you know, exposed little dongle thing inside the Switch and how breakable that's going to be and what a point of failure that's going to be. And in the patent information, it does show that that thing is, like, flexible, that Nintendo has taken into account that, yes, you know, they want this thing to be a little flexible, so that way it doesn't immediately just, like, break and chip off. Does this actually, like, reduce all people's complaints with it? No. Because, you know, when you have a giant open, you know, port, and pen connectors, there are multiple points of failure. But to be fair, the Switch also has, you know, pen connectors and whatnot for charging their Joy-Cons. They're just better hidden. But I don't, people are making it out to be, like, such a big fucking deal. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. I admittedly, so I did not read, you know, the patent was filed in Japanese. I obviously can't read the patent. I did not see anything. I know there's been a lot of talk about how these new Joy-Cons are going to have, like, hollow adaptive sticks or some sort of, like, new control stick that's supposed to be, you know, not drift as much. I did not see anything. I've not heard anyone talk about that in the patent. That might be there, and they just didn't say it. I don't know. I have not seen anything about that. So that could still be true. That could be a lie. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hesitant. Like, the idea of a stick that doesn't drift for the Switch 2, you know, these new... Again, they're like hollow adaptive or something like that. That'd be very nice, but I'm skeptical. I don't know. I'll believe the Switch 2 doesn't drift when we see it not drift. Because I kind of, the Pro Controller I'm currently using, I kind of feel like the right stick is starting to get a little drift. When I was doing the Quagsire video, like 2 weeks ago, I was having so many problems controlling the camera. It wasn't like a major drift thing, you know, it wasn't like ruining everything. But it was kind of annoying. So I am kind of worried about that. And then the final thing is, in this patent, there is this predictive input technology. What does this mean? Basically, when you're playing on a controller, the controller will try to predict what your next button press is going to be, and then use that to, you know, make it a better, more accurate controller. I've seen some people talk about this as like, oh my god, you know, this is AI trying to read my controller inputs, and this is going to be terrible. I hope we have the ability to turn this off. That's kind of, you know, some people are making it sound like that. From my understanding, that's not what this is. I think it was, I watched Arlo's video explaining it, and from what it sounds like, this is more like rollback netcode in online like fighting games, where, you know, the rollback netcode tries to predict your next move, and then if it gets it wrong, it rolls it back. So in theory, this new predictive input technology, it's working if you don't notice it. If you notice something is weird, like you press jump and it doesn't jump because it instead was predicting you were going to, like, shoot or whatnot, that's when you know it's not working. That's when it's broken, because you should never notice it. That's per my understanding. But basically the idea is to cut down on latency, so that way, you know, when you press the A button, your character will jump at the exact same time. Instead of there being like a second or two delay, like a frame or two, between you pressing the button and the character jumping, it should be instant. At least that's the idea anyways. You know, to reduce latency, to reduce, you know, it uses less power, processing power, whatever. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I could totally, you know, if it works, then it works great. The fear is that it won't work, but, you know, if it doesn't work, hopefully, you know, they'll give us an option to turn it off. So that's that. Also, Arlo pointed out in his video that maybe this could be used for streaming. That, you know, one of the big rumors for the Switch 2 is that new C button is a cast button. That you're going to be able to wirelessly cast your Switch onto the dock without having to connect it up to the dock. Admittedly, I have never believed the cast rumors. I think the C button is far more likely to be like a community button. That's been my prediction. But, you know, if this is using predictive, you know, technology, that will greatly reduce the amount of, you know, input delay when you're playing, you know, when you're holding your console in your hand and casting it to the TV. So I could see the benefit there. That actually is a very logical point that he brought up. But I still don't believe the cast thing, if I'm being honest. I still think it's a community button. I think that makes the most sense. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. So the last story, speaking of Arlo, there was some news. So this could be nothing. Most likely, this is a nothing story. But on the off chance it isn't, I just kind of want to quickly talk about it anyways. Basically, in LA, you know, there are a lot of big billboards in LA, you know, all over the place. And recently, for some reason, Nintendo has put up 2 Pikmin billboards. One of them is just a normal billboard. The other is like a wraparound. And you can find these you can find these online. You can look up pictures of them. But there are 2 Pikmin billboards. And like, if this was around the time Pikmin 4 had released, I would have been like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You know, Nintendo wants to market this game. Sure, why not? Pikmin 2 was over a year and a half ago. Why the hell is Nintendo putting up 2 Pikmin billboards right now of all times? You know, if this was like some sort of like, you know, hey, if this had been like a general like Nintendo Switchboard, like I heard something that maybe at one point this had Mario on it, I would have been like, okay, that makes sense, you know. Nintendo's just marketing, you know, some of their games. Mario, Pikmin, you know, and the like. I'd get that. That would make sense. But the fact that it's specifically a Pikmin billboard, it's just kind of weird. You know? Again, I don't think this means anything. But I would kind of love if it did. Maybe, you know, I know Pikmin 5... I still think we're a year or 2 out from Pikmin 5. I don't see it until next year at the earliest, but I would guess 2 years. But, you know, maybe instead, we get some Pikmin 4 DLC. That, you know, that'd be a cool Nintendo Direct announcement. Hey, because in the same way that Pikmin 4 recreated Pikmin 1, what if they did Pikmin 4 DLC that recreated Pikmin 2? And, you know, it's Olimar and Louie. They have to go down into the dungeons, collect the treasure. Because Olimar's, you know, side quest in Pikmin 4, you don't go into a single dungeon. So what if they do a dungeon-focused mode with Olimar and Louie? And they bring back some of the classic enemies. You know, they bring back Careening Dirigibugs. They bring back Gatling Groinks. And, you know, just make it really... Make it, like, the difficult DLC. Like, that's what you pitch it as, is this is the DLC that is supposed to be difficult. Hey, are you a Pikmin expert? Well, this is the challenge for you. Maybe even make it a roguelite mode. I know from some mods of Pikmin 2, that a roguelite mode would work really well in Pikmin, where you're delving into randomly generated caves, trying to collect as much treasure as possible. And if they do that with, you know, a Pikmin 2 skin, I think people would love that. I think that would be a fantastic little DLC. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But it's just really random that out of nowheres we got some Pikmin billboards. To be fair, the Super Bowl is next week. Or this Friday, I mean. Or this Sunday. Screwed that up 3 times. The Super Bowl is coming up. And there is a part of me that wonders if we're going to get a Switch 2 ad during the Super Bowl. I doubt it. But Nintendo did do a Super Bowl ad for the original Switch. Their first ever and potentially only Super Bowl ad. So, you know, anything is possible. So, yeah. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. So I guess that takes us into WIBE. So one thing I do want to bring up that I forgot to put on the list is we got a trailer for the new Fantastic Four movie. And I've seen, you know, the Marvel haters have come out of the woodworks to be like, oh no, this looks awful, it looks unfinished, oh my god, the thing looks terrible. Honestly, I think this is a perfectly fine trailer. It does, you know, it introduces us to the members of the Fantastic Four, we get to see little glimpses of their power, we get, you know, hints that the story's gonna revolve around the family. That, you know, the Fantastic Four is Marvel's first family, and that's kind of their big thing above all else. So the trailer is, you know, them at Sunday dinner. And there are some, the moment of, like, Sue explaining, like, well, you know, Ben has always been our rock. Johnny will always be, you know, they say Johnny will always be Johnny. I wish they had kind of just called him a hothead, right? And, oh, I'm right here. That's great. I think that's all good. I like Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I think she's a great Sue Storm. Pedro Pascal will do fine as Reed Richards. He's a good actor. He'll do a fine job. The other two, I admittedly don't know that well, so I have no preference on them. But I think they'll do fine. I think the design of the Thing looks good. Especially in the trench coat. The shot of, you know, him on the TV, cutting to him in the trench coat, that looks good. It's pulled right out of the comics. I think that'll be really well done. Galactus, you know, getting a comic accurate Galactus is gonna be good. Everything I've seen of this movie so far, I do like. So I know the new Captain America comes out in like a week. And yes, by next week I will have seen it. Even if I don't really care to. I'm so brokenhearted. Keo Kwan's new movie came out today, Love Hurts. Is it called Love Hurts? I think it's called Love Hurts. And it did not review well, like, at all. Like, I didn't need much from, you know, a Keo Kwan as, you know, retired John Wick coming out of retirement. I just needed a fun, action, rom-com. That was it, right? A rom-com with some fun action. That is, from everything I've read, that does not sound like this movie. I read Variety's review where they basically are like, is this even a movie? Because of how little it does, right? You've got like 4 action scenes, you've got some stuff early on, some stuff near the end, and that's about it. And that does sound super underwhelming. I didn't need much from this movie, but it seems like it delivered nothing. However, Heart Eyes, I've heard, is fantastic. Or, you know, at least pretty good. I've heard Heart Eyes is good. Companion, is that the other one? I've heard Companion is really good, even though I'm probably not going to see either of them. No, the next thing I'm going to go see is fucking Captain America. Man, fucking Captain America. It's not that I want the movie to be good. I want to make that myself clear. I want the new Captain America to be good. I just don't think it's going to be good. reviews won't come out for a while, but I don't think it's gonna be good. But Fantastic Four looks fine. So what have I been doing? There have been so many TV shows this week. We have Harley Quinn. We have Invincible. We have Moon Girl. There's, I'm behind on Severance. Guess what? That has not changed. I'm behind, there's so many other shows I need to watch. And I got one Harley Quinn. I got the first episode of The Return of Moon Girl. I got the first episode of Invincible. But that was kind of it. That was all I could squeeze in. Especially because most of that stuff released today. And there's at least 2 other things that I haven't watched. Spider-Man, I have not. There's 3 new episodes of Spider-Man. Did not get around to it. There was a new Make Some Noise this week. I didn't even get around to that. And I love Make Some Noise. That's usually the first thing I watch all week. And I just didn't. I was busy this week. So it was a very busy week. I got one game, and then of course we got Marble League tended off. So let's talk about Celeste. So I've been playing some more Celeste. Where we left off, I beat the game in about 3 hours. But along the way, I only collected 2 crystal hearts, and I only got a single cassette tape. So I booted back up the game, I went back through, I got all the cassette tapes, and I got all of the blue crystal hearts minus the core. I didn't do the core yet. I got all the cassettes. I did not do a single B-side level. That was just my goal, was to get all the cassettes, to unlock all the B-sides, and to, unlock all the blue hearts. Which, luckily I remembered where some of them were. I remembered some of the solutions. The solution the one that always trips me up is, I think, level 6, where, you fall down the mountain, and you have to do the pattern from level 1, the city. But you have to do it the normal way, then I think you have to do it backwards, then you have to do it tilted at a 90-degree angle. And then I think you have to do it, it's either, what is it? It's not in reverse, do you have to do multiple multiple ones, or a double? I don't remember whatever the fourth one is, but that's a puzzle that I get how you get to the solution, but I can never actually remember the solution, so I always have to look up that one. So, and I did. I looked up some of the gyms. I remembered where some of them were. I remembered where the hotel gym is. I remembered where the mountain gym was. I remembered one or 2 others. But for the most part, I did have to look up where some of the ones I couldn't remember were. The first area. I couldn't remember where it was in the first area. But yeah, I got all that. I got all the cassette tapes. And yeah, it was... it's still Celeste. It's a good time. I did not get every strawberry, and if I'm being honest, I have no interest in getting every strawberry. That sounds like such a fucking hassle that, to be honest, I'm perfectly good not doing. Oh god, I didn't get my freaking soda. I also threw that in a terrible spot. So I did not get that, but I'm enjoying it. I've talked about, I did Celeste on stream back in 2021, and I was talking about, maybe after we finish the Donkey Kong games, maybe we'll do the B-sides on stream. That's a possibility. Because there's a part of me because I've never done Farewell. I've never beaten Farewell. I've never even beaten all the C-sides. I've only ever played the core a single time. So there is a part of me that kind of wants to, do some of that stuff, either again or for the first time. But I know some of that stuff is fucking hard. And I remember where I got stuck. And I do not look forward to going back to that. Because I know Celeste is hard. I've seen some clips for some reason Celeste keeps popping up on Reddit. I think it's because I looked up the heart solutions on Reddit. that it just kind of keeps feeding them back to me. And so as a result, I keep seeing things from the Reddit about, like, Farewell and some of the other levels. And oh my gosh, does it look like a nightmare. So, I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about. I might at least try it. But I make no promises. But I'm definitely thinking about it. I did watch a movie. I watched only a single movie this week. I finally sat down and watched The Wild Robot. They added it to Peacock a while ago now. And it's one of those movies, I really wanted to watch it in theaters, but there was this period from, like, August to, like, November where I didn't see a single movie. It might have been to October. For a long time, I didn't see a single movie last year. And so there's a part of me that, like, oh, I'm catching up. But I really wanted to see The Wild Robot. So finally, I sat down this week. I watched it. Of course I cried. Man, of course I cried. I know they're based on books. I do actually own the books, but I've only read, like, part of the first one. But I think I am finally going to read all 3 of them. Because, yeah, like I said, I do own all 3 of them. Why? That's not important. But, yeah, the movie is so good. It's heartwarming. The voice cast is phenomenal. Is it Lupita Nyong'o does Roz, and she's great. Whoever does Bright Bill does a good job. Oh, was that? So I was watching Invincible, and at one point I was listening to Rexplode, and I was like, I've heard that voice this week. Where did I hear that voice this week? It was probably the Wild Robot. The guy who plays Rexplode probably is also in the Wild Robot. I don't know who, but I guarantee you he's in that movie. That's probably where it was. But either way, I really enjoyed it. I think the climax was good. The ending, again, super heartwarming, super heartbreaking. It made you cry tears of joy. It does it all. But it's really good. I was really impressed. And I know they're already working on a sequel. I think it's The Wild Robot Escapes. And I totally get it. I totally see where they can go. There's a lot of potential. Yeah, if you have not seen it, I recommend it. It is definitely a kid's movie, but I mean, especially if you are a parent, like especially a mother, oh my god, it will destroy you. But it's really good. It is really good. I recommend it. The animation is fantastic. I know some people didn't like that they changed Roz's design between the books and the movie. I really like the movie design. The movie design is, it allows her to be, I would say more expressive, but more adaptable. Like when she wants to, act like a grizzly bear, her body contorts to look more like a grizzly bear. That's really cool. There's a lot of good details like that. I really liked it. Some of the stuff, I don't remember, from what I remember reading from the first book, I don't remember the beacon being a thing. Because, for most of the movie, she's trying to, beacon home until she gets assigned the job of mother. And I don't remember the beacon being a thing from what originally she was just exploring the island until she eventually kills the goose family and just saves the one egg. I remember that. I remember her meeting the possum. I remember she meets the old goose much earlier in the book. And I want to say it's the older goose that names Bright Bill. I think that sounds right. But yeah, other than that, I really did enjoy it. It was a really good movie. And every time I was like, okay, this is where it's going to end, right? Like, oh, you know, you had your big moment. Nope, it just keeps going. And, like, I'm not going to say you get, like, 3 climaxes, but you get, like, 3 big moments, like, back to back. That are all good, that are all entertaining, that are all solid. It's just really well done. And yeah, I'm curious to see where they're going to take it for the next one. I don't know, by the time the next one will come out, I hope you have read all 3 books. They're kids' books, they're not that long. I could probably crack them out in, like, a few days if I just actually focused. Okay, so that was the one movie I saw. Let's do some TV. Let's start off with the thing I did not like. So we got a new episode of Harley Quinn. We're in the 5th season. I think this is episode 4. This is called Breaking Brainiac. And this episode takes a non-traditional approach to it, where instead of being a Harley Quinn episode, it's more focused around Brainiac. Brainiac is the main character. We follow him for like 90% of the episode. And now the show has done this before. Way back in like season 2, they did an episode that followed basically exclusively Batman and Batgirl, and it was actually a really good episode. It's got one of the only examples I can think of calling out a critics and doing it successfully. Because yeah, Harley Quinn is a great show. So they've done this in the past, and they've done it successfully. This is not that. Basically, okay, do you remember those... This was probably before the pandemic. Do you remember those little blue alien comics? Where they would, like, they would be aliens on Earth doing human situations, but they would point out, like, the weird, like, Earth customs of it. So they would do, like, oh, it's a birthday, so we must all wear our hat of birth. We must sing the birth song. And, you know, they just these little cute blue alien comics that are, you know, commentaries on humans' culture. It was like a big trend back in like 2019. I think they eventually turned it into a TV show, but by that point I didn't care because I want to say the guy who makes those little blue alien comics is like, he's either homophobic or transphobic. I don't remember, but he was definitely one of the phobics. I want to say transphobic. That sounds right. So fuck that guy and fuck his show. For some reason, Notch is involved with it. For some reason, I relate that to Notch for some reason. Maybe some of those scandals were happening around the same time. Maybe Notch weighed in on it. I don't remember. Fuck Notch as well. But, yeah, this episode is Brainiac. He's living, you know, his suburban life. The whole point of, you know, the Brainiac species is that they look for perfection, right? Their planet, Homeworld, is 99% perfect. So they go from world to world looking for other planets that are nearly as perfect. You know, they steal stuff from some of these other planets, and they just go place to place, right? And one day, while Brainiac is, you know, on his final mission, 2 days from retirement, he, you know, goes and steals the shrink ray, comes back, and finds out that 1% imperfection on his planet. Destroyed his planet, killed his wife, killed his child. And so now he's, you know, the last surviving member of his species. So he's wandering the universe, you know, trying to find a purpose, and that being, you know, bottling cities. He goes to a city, makes it perfect, and then bottles it to preserve it forever, right? He does it to Candor. We see a bunch of other references, you know, oh god, what are they called? I know I saw Starfile's homeworld. Thanagarians? I saw that one. Is that Thanagar? No, Rand and Thanagar. Rand and Thanagar are definitely... Tamaranian is Starfire. Okay, so they show Rand, they show Tamaran, they show Thanagar. You know, there's a bunch of little different references in there. But, you know, eventually after, you know, years of going from place to place, bottling these cities, he eventually ends up on Earth, one of the worst worlds. Like, it's like a 0.8%. And the best city on Earth is Metropolis. So now it's like his passion project. It's a challenge, right? He's gonna take, you know, the best city on Earth and try to make it perfect. And it's just fucking weird, man. It's a weird episode. The writing's kind of annoying. Every once in a while, a joke did get me to laugh. Specifically the sex jokes, which is weird. There's a joke about him masturbating that I thought was funny. And then he has, he exchanges files with his wife. And he's like finished in like 2 seconds. And I was like, that's kind of funny. So every once in a while, they got a decent joke. But yeah, basically, Harley Quinn gave Brainiac a crybaby backstory. And I don't really know how to feel about that. I don't want to say it's like the worst thing ever. Because I'm of two minds. You know, it's the same way with like Ultron. Where I totally see why people like a cold, feelingless robot killing machine. Right? Brainiac, Ultron, who, right, just follow their strict programming of, you know, trying to destroy the world, destroy planets, collect cities. Right? I get that. I get why people like that. But I also do kind of like when these properties make their villains their robotic villains more human. Especially when the more human they become, or, you know, the more alive they become, you know, less reliant on programming, the more they kind of hate themselves for it. Because that's what I really like about James Spader's Ultron, is that he's very much like Tony Stark, and he hates that about himself. And that makes for a really interesting character. On top of, you know, James Spader's performance, which is really good, I really like Avengers Age of Ultron. But I totally get why people like a robot that sticks exactly to their programming, even if that just means killing everybody. I think the perfect example is the robot captain from WALL-E, who, right, he's just sticking to his program. He's a cold, unfeeling machine. He does exactly what he's programmed, nothing more, nothing less. I get the appeal of that, and I think it works fine in WALL-E. It's not, and of course Hal as well. But no, I like more human, you know, characters like this. Right, Brainiac in My Adventures with Superman had his human elements. You know, where he took things perfectly. He was trying to, you know, either find the perfect world or create it. And in the process, he was just destroying world after world. I liked My Adventures with Superman Brainiac, but I didn't love it either. That's the other thing. Brainiac as a character is a character I like, but I don't love. I think Ultron is way more interesting. Even though Ultron is like Ultron is less complex, but I find him more interesting. Whereas Brainiac, you know, especially in like My Adventures with Superman, where he's the one who destroyed Krypton, like, holy shit, that's like a huge deal. Or in the original animated series, where he's the one, you know, he escaped from the planet because, you know, he lied to all the scientists and told them the world wasn't going to explode. Like, shit like that is interesting. But I don't know, I've just never really cared for Brainiac that much. I know some people love Brainiac, right? I know for some people he's huge. But, not really for me. But yeah, that's kind of weird, because I usually do like robot villains. That's kind of weird that I actually don't, that I'm kind of empathetic, or not empathetic, apathetic, that's the word I was looking for. I'm kind of apathetic towards Brainiac. That's kind of weird. But yeah, this was just a weird episode. Like, clearly they're building towards something. The fact that Lena and Brainiac are working together, and that she's right, she wants Harley and Ivy for something, and that they're gonna, you know, she has this whole green initiative, but the green initiative goes against whatever Brainiac's doing. So, like, clearly there's something going on there. But, you know, we're just gonna have to wait to see until it all comes together. But this was just such a weird episode, and I didn't like it. No, it just didn't work for me. I mean, it is definitely the most, it's definitely the most different take on Brainiac I have seen in a while. It is very different. Again, giving him a crybaby backstory definitely does change how I view the character. But, like, I hope it's going somewhere. It's like, if you're gonna try to make him empathetic, I hope you do something with it. So that was a superhero show I didn't like. Let's talk about the ones I did. So let's talk about Moon Girl. So Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Season 2B. The show returned today on both Disney Channel and Disney Plus. If you go on Disney Plus, every episode is there. All 24 episodes of Season 2 are now officially available. They added like 10 more. I only had time to watch the first one. It released today. I kind of forgot it released today until like an hour ago. It's been like 2 hours now. I kind of forgot, because there has been no promotion, no advertising. Disney has basically buried this show, which is such a fucking shame. Because already, shame on Disney for everything they've done to this show. We talked about The Gatekeeper last season. A fantastic episode that I am so glad leaked online, because it is so good, and Disney's going to get none of the credit for them. In fact, hopefully that hurt Disney's PR. It hurt their brand image more than, if they had just released an episode with a trans athlete. I really hope that. But the rest of the show is still really good. And watching this first episode, I loved it. This season premiere of Moon Girl was so... Well, again, it's Season 2B. And it was so good. So the episode picks up where we left off in Season 2A. Where, Lunella's family knows about her power. That she's, Moon Girl. And her mom says, I don't want you to be Moon Girl anymore. So she's dealing with that struggle of, crime is running amok in the city. She wants to go out and help, but her mom won't let her. Meanwhile, right, her grandma, Mimi, is dealing with, the grandpa being mad at her. So that's the main conflict, right? Devil's out on his own. They try all these different things to convince the mom. They can't convince her. Eventually, they find a loophole that, right, she doesn't want Lunella to be there. Like, in person, but they can just send a robot. So they make a robot Lunella, and it goes out, it fights some crime, and then the mom sees it, and rips the arm off, in a really, in a sequence that is great. Like, the whole her ripping the arm off and being horrified, that was really good, that was really well done. And then right afterwards, she promises to give up being Moon Girl, but then all the villains come together and form I think it's like the Formidable Four. Some of the B-tier villains. The Rat Guy, the Fast Girl, the Fast Guy, Stilt Woman. They took Stilt Man and gender swapped them. Actually, I think it actually makes more sense. I want to say the Rat is played by David Diggs. And of course they give him a French accent in this episode because fuck it, why not? I know David Diggs is someone in this show. And I want to say he's the guy in the car, Rockin' Rudy. But I also want to say he's the Rat Guy. That sounds right in my head. But so all that happens, the villains form their evil four. They kidnap Devil Dinosaur. They kidnap, oh my god, why am I forgetting her name? Fuck. Casey. Oh my god, I don't know. I was like, in my head, I was like, Stacy? No, that's not right. That's not right. It's Casey. They kidnap Casey, they kidnap Devil, and they kidnap the mayor? Someone important in the government. And so, Lunella is, like, panicking about it. And she talks to the grandpa, and the grandpa's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. With that, he finally forgives his wife, and they have a good moment together. And then Lunella goes to be Moon Girl. The mom stops her. And she gives, you know, the classic, you know, superhero Spider-Man speech about how, you know, if, you know, I see someone's in danger, I have to help them. I learned that from you, Mom. That's a really good moment. Right? Again, classic Spider-Man, you know, hero, you know, they'll put other people over themselves. And I'm comparing it to Spider-Man because we are getting it, because we currently have an animated Spider-Man show. And honestly, this one episode of Moon Girl, just one episode, blows anything Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is doing out of the water. Not that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is like a bad show. In some ways, this is comparing apples to oranges. But like, holy shit, is this good. Oh my god, this episode blows it out of the way. Specifically for the ending. So, the other time I can think of, so when I thought of like, okay, the heroes, their parents find out they're a superhero, and now they won't let them be a hero. That kind of sounds like a high school Spider-Man plot, but as far as I know, none of the Spider-Man shows did that. Spectacular Spider-Man didn't do it, Ultimate Spider-Man didn't do that, Marvel's Spider-Man 2017 didn't do it, because Aunt May never finds out in any of those shows. At least as far as I remember. But I was racking my brain trying to think, like, what other teen superhero show had the parents figure it out? Ben 10. Ben 10 does an episode where and I want to say Alien Force, where Ben's parents find out and they ground him from being Ben 10. He sneaks out, gets in trouble again, and then eventually he saves the day, saves his parents, and, you know, they let him be a superhero again. Good, classic episode in my opinion. Admittedly, it's been like a decade since I've seen it. This show, right, it kind of does the same setup, right? The parents find out, they ground her from being a superhero. And then, you know, she has to go back out and do it anyways to save them, you know, save everyone. But unlike those other shows, when Lunella comes home, her mom hasn't forgiven her. They sit down at, like, the dinner table, and Lunella's like, oh, Mom, you know, I'm not hurt. You know, if you could see me, you know, you'd be less worried. And the mom doesn't want to talk about it. There's this awkward silence between them. And then the mom's like, oh, well, how are things going in science club? Is everything going well? Are you excited for, like, Robot Wars? Like, there's this element of trust that's been broken that might never be repaired. And it's so good. The final moment of this episode blew me away. Because I've never seen that in a kid's show like this. This might be a thing that happens in comics. I don't know. I don't read that many teen superhero comics. I want to say Miss Marvel probably did something similar when her parents found out. But eventually their solution was just to erase the parents' memory, which kind of sucked. Because that did suck when that happened, when the aliens were erased. Miss Marvel does some weird shit in her comics. But yeah, eventually an alien, when her parents find out, eventually an alien erases their memories. So they no longer know. It's a whole thing. But right, like the movie, in the comic book, Miss Marvel, or in the MCU show, right, the parents just know. And honestly, it's a good relationship. You know, that I really like the Marvels. The Marvels movie, I know it underperformed at the box office. It was actually pretty good. It gets way too much shit for being a pretty decent movie. Not one of the best, but pretty decent. But no, the ending to Moon Girl here blew me away. I don't know if Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is gonna have a single episode as good as this one. And this is just the season premiere. Or the, you know, season 2B. This is the halfway point. I have 10 more episodes to go. I am so excited. And yeah, it's Moon Girl. The people who worked on this show put their blood, sweat, tears, and literally anything else they could into this show. And it shows, because they made something fantastic. And fuck Disney for, you know, hiding for canceling, removing, you know, forcing them not to release episodes. And just for canceling the show. This show should not have been canceled. This show should have gotten 100 more seasons. It is so good. The animation is beautiful. The voice acting is great. The music is fantastic. The sound design is so good. Everything about Moon Girl is amazing. Not every episode is amazing. You know, they have their ups and their downs. But as a show overall, they know what they're doing. And they do it well. So, color me impressed. And I'll be honest, I can't top that. The next thing we have is Invincible. I don't think it's Invincible. Invincible, it was fine. I think the new Invincible was fine. But I only saw the first episode. Again, a lot of stuff released today. Or, you know, within the past day or two. And I have not had time to watch any of it. So for Invincible, we're back. You know, it picks up where, 3 months after the last season ended off. We're back with Mark. You know, he's training. He's getting better. Oliver now has superpowers. So, we're gonna, eventually see Kid Omni-Man. I know the first 3 episodes have come out. I don't know what's in the second 2, but I've got a good guess. This episode is mostly about Rex and Mark. Right, someone's trying to steal the Declaration of Independence. The twins, I can't remember either of their names. They're from the future, it's a whole thing. But they steal the Declaration of Independence. Multipole shows up to try to kill Rex. In the end, it's revealed that Duplicate's still alive. She joins back up with the team, as does Immortal, as does Shrinking Ray. I actually really like the moment where, Rex gets reunited with Shrinking Ray. And it's like, yeah, we both survived, almost dying. That means something. So that was good. Mark, he basically is the third wheel with William on his date. And he talks about, wanting to confess to Eve. But part of the reason he's doing it is because of future Eve. And they're like, hey, don't tell Eve that. So, of course, what does he do? He goes to Eve, asks her out on a date, really badly. Honestly, off. He has absolutely zero charisma. He almost fumbled that bag. At first. And then he actually fumbles the bag. Because he eventually reveals the reason he did it is because of future Eve. And that pisses her off. But then they get interrupted because of Doc Seismic, who has kidnapped all the heroes. They go in. They're unable to stop Doc Seismic. And then the Reanimen come in, and Darkwing comes in. They're able to save them. Mark is, of course, pissed at both of them. And, yeah, he confronts Cecil, and that's where the episode ends. And, yeah, no, I think it's a fine season premiere. It sets up some of the major themes of the season. Mark and Eve's relationship, Oliver having powers and, wanting to become Kid Omni-Man eventually. Mark turning against Cecil, right? All stuff, because he doesn't have the black costume yet, but he's definitely going to have it. He's going to go get it when Oliver gets his costume. So it's going to be in like an episode or 2. And right, so we're now entering the Dark Era. And I'll be honest, I think I would not be surprised if the conversation between Mark and Cecil about Darkwing and D.A. Sinclair, if it's one for one from the comics. But I actually liked his explanation better in the show than I remember it in the comics. Because he frames it in the show more as like rehabilitation. That part of, right, he's taken, Darkwing and D.A. Sinclair he's taken them to therapy, and now they're instead of rotting away in jail forever, they're effectively doing community service and, trying to make up for their past mistakes. Mark can't accept that, but Cecil's like, that's the way. And I actually do like that explanation. Again, I should preface this. I have read the comics. I know how some of this stuff plays out. And even though as weird as it sounds, I'm actually on Cecil's side. Like, I remember when I read this in the comics, I was definitely on Mark's side at the time when this stuff happened. In hindsight, 100 issues later, it's probably less than that at this point. Maybe. I'm on Cecil's side. I get where he's coming from. I see the arguments. I know what happens later in the comics. I get it. I get Cecil's argument. I think he puts it very well, and Mark is kind of being obstinate. So yeah, I think all around, a very solid season premiere. You know, I still have a lot, you know, there's still a lot more to, you know, go. Because, as far as it's weird, because I swear Amazon just did, like, 1 episode a week, like most other things. But no, they dropped the first 3 episodes this week. I thought the same thing was going to happen with Spider-Man. Like, they dropped the first 2 as, like, season premiere. And then this week they dropped 3 episodes, and I don't know why. But I didn't have the time for that. I will. I'll make time next week, but I did not have the time this week. But yeah, not that I'm complaining about 3 episodes of Invincible. It just sucks that, you know, I couldn't watch them all tonight, because I only had so much time to do all of this. Because I had to watch Harley Quinn, I had to watch Moon Girl, I had to watch this. And at least Moon Girl I could do in, you know, while eating my barbecue bacon quarter pounder in the 20 minutes before the stream started. At least I could do that. Yeah. Yeah, Invincible, you know, it's good. It's Invincible. It knows what it's doing. I have full hope they're going to adapt the entire story. You know, it's crazy because in the modern, I'm so worried about all these shows being canceled. You know, Moon Girl being canceled. Harley Quinn is like the one thing at DC that continues to live on, and I kind of don't get why, but I'm glad it does, even if I don't love every episode of it. But Invincible, I'm actually not worried about. Like, it seems to get more popular year after year. I mean, ever since the season 1 finale, it has been huge. And sure, did they have their low points at the season 2 mid-finale? Yes. But I feel like they've recovered somewhat. I know, even though I know where it's going, I'm still very excited. It is still a good show. So yeah, I really enjoy Invincible. But of course I do, right? I've read the comics, which is crazy. I actually did, speaking of the comics, because I have a minute. So, with all the Fantastic Four stuff, I've been thinking about Fantastic Four again. And like, I don't know, like 2 years ago now, I picked up some Fantastic Four books. I want to say it's... Oh, fuck. Who's the writer? Oh, fuck. I'd have to look it up. But I picked up some Fantastic Four books. And I started reading them. You know, the Council of Reeds. Is it Jonathan Hickman? Because okay, so I don't like Reed Richards. I'll be honest, I don't like Reed Richards. But my experience with Reed Richards is specifically Civil War, Planet Hulk, and Secret War. Secret Wars? No, not Secret Wars. Secret Invasion. That's it, Secret Invasion. That is my entire experience with the Fantastic Four. And I hate Reed Richards in all of those stories. So Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four, at least I'm going to double check right now, but I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan Hickman. His run of Fantastic Four takes place after those stories. Yeah, Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four takes place after those stories that I just mentioned that I hate. And, you know, supposedly they're the good Fantastic Four. These are the good Fantastic Four stories. These are the ones people recommend. And so years ago, I picked them up. And I started reading them, you know, I read some of the Council of Reed stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is good. And then I put it down for some reason, and I just never picked it back up. That was 2-3 years ago. Actually, we're gonna do Marble League here in a second. But this week, I picked it back up, and I was like, okay, I've got 3 of these books, you know, 3 of these collections. Each of them have like 400 pages. You know, between Marvel Rivals and the new movie, I'm kind of interested in Fantastic Four again. So, you know, for the moment, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's Fantastic Four, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll talk more about that next week. Maybe I'll have actually read some of it. But every once in a while, I try to read comics. I don't do it that... You know, Invincible is kind of one of my weird exceptions, where I don't really read comics, but I've read all of Invincible, you know, I've read all of Miss Marvel. There are weird exceptions, but there are definitely exceptions. Oh, gosh. Ugh. Alright, let me pull this up, let me do this. One second, I'm pulling up the Marble League now. Alright, if we do that, hit that, and then hit that. And then that one. Oh, shit. Alright, so here we are, Marble League. We got 2 events, climbing, and whatever the other one is. Last we left off, our team's actually doing okay. I want to say we're in, like, 5th place, or, you know, somewhere's within the top, like, 10. Which is not, I know that's not, top 8. Top 8's a better achievement. That's at least top half. But, you know, I'm a little concerned. Is that? Why the hell is that?
The quest for the Marble League All-Stars Championship is knotted up at the top. The battles have been strung out
I have never seen this bar.
Events. And now we get ready without delay for mountain climbing. Hey everybody.
What the? I have never seen that before. What the fuck is that?
By 7
Has that been there? Have I just been blind? Has that been there the whole time and I've just never noticed it?
Last round. We come into an event.
Why the fuck is there a sliding bar on a full screen video?
Their teammate up this mountain ramp as high as they can possibly go. It's dizzying heights, it's hard impacts, and there's a lot of points and medals on the line as we have reached event number 5. This was the 11th.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't know why that's there.
Is of course
that in theory is going to drive me crazy.
Mint Mobile.
Because there's no reason for that to be there.
Unfettered access to these
games
from start to finish. All of the workers have checked the track. It is clear and safe, and up we go. And our first...
Another event we did terrible on during the main league. So I am not excited for this at all.
77-15, Minty Maniacs, the co-hosts of these games. Switch them around here in Heat A.
Oh yeah, they do 4 runs, don't they?
Number 2, this time it's Minty Maniacs.
Yeah, I don't know why that's doing
getting
that.
Ahead.
That is so weird.
Good impacts by all.
Because there's no other, that's the end of the screen. It literally, when I have it set to full screen, it's full screen. That's just a black border.
And team primary.
Oh, maybe they just do 2
on that
runs.
One, a 77-15, 75-95 for the Minty Maniacs. Puts them in 2nd place. O'Rangers, Green Ducks, Team Momo, and Mellow Yellow now, and Momo clearly ahead of everyone else.
Again, Momo just won the league. They've definitely got the up and up here.
Momo won this event in the Big Marble League.
Yeah, same.
79-20, which at the time... Wait a
minute.
Holy
shit, that's a new record.
I didn't even have time to mention the record back in the Marble League. Over 86. That is tremendous. They don't have much left on this 2nd run. It's still better than most marbles up in that top lane. Mellow Yellow gets the better here. That's also going to be close to 85. How close was that? 83-50. That also would have broken the Marble League
times to beat. Holy shit.
But Momo gets it done. 86-20. I was going to say,
I don't know. I've heard
79-20 was their record.
Usually, you know, every week I come on here and I'm like, you know, I've seen these events before, but last week I was like, I didn't watch the events. Same thing with this week. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to watch the events. So I didn't. So the one piece of Marble League news we do have, which really surprising.
With one of our
so,
Skyway Chase Marble Run
a few months ago, when the qualifiers happened, the Cobalts came in like 17th, right? They just barely didn't qualify because the Cobalts haven't been in the league in like 9 years. It has been a long time
Very
since the
interesting
Cobalts
results
made it
we've
into the
seen
Marble
so
League.
far from the
So
top half of the field
afterwards,
here in
they
Mountain
fired
Climbing,
their
with
coach Sapphire.
Team Momo leading the way.
All right, wait, let's
Here it's
focus up
Crazy
real quick.
Cat's Eyes, Hazers,
Come on, you
Raspberry
two.
Racers, and Team Galactic.
That's
And it
okay.
looks
It's not.
like
I know it's
Crazy
not
Cat's
one, but
Eyes
that's
with a
still
nice
okay.
challenge. Down in the bottom lane, they are going to get the win here. Galactic was
Yeah.
hanging with them right up until the end, or did they actually squeak by? Oh, so
We just
close.
barely did it.
Galactic got
81.
Oh, there you go. That
That's not
heads-up
bad.
angle.
That's
the
not
better
bad at
one.
all. I'll take
You can see
that.
they just edged forward.
All right,
And
second
half the
row
lead.
this time. Okay, not a good
Raspberry
run the
Racers,
second
This
time.
is a much lower total for everybody here.
Yeah, that was not a great run the second time.
This one barely gets to 65 for most of those marbles.
But I'll still
Used
take
up all the
first.
energy on that opening run, and
That
Team
puts us in
Galactic
third.
gets
We
the win.
currently
The heat
are
goes
in
to
medaling
third
position
overall with
as
Crazy
long as
Cat's Eyes in
nobody
fourth.
hits higher
That's
than
where they finished
81.
Back in the big marble league.
What the fucking
Galactic
Savage Speeders,
was
goddamn.
fifth.
Oh, shit.
Fantastic push on the bottom. A
Holy
great climb
crap, Pinkies.
down in lane number 4 for the Pinkies.
That beat us at least.
Well above everybody else. That's also past 80.
Oh, yep, there we go.
82-20.
Okay, so again, this is the second time now we've been in third. And in the
Strong
last
start
possible
here.
minute,
That
been
should
knocked
put them
down.
into the top 5, and this is also
Gosh
gonna be near
dang
80
it.
as well. We're
We
taking
were
a
right there
best
again
of
to having a
3
medal.
in these
And then
heats.
in the 11th hour, okay, maybe the
Much
10th
closer
hour,
overall
we got
between
pushed
the 4
out.
marbles.
We're
And this one,
doing decent, honestly.
nearly everybody made it.
We're
to
doing
70.
decent.
Just shy of
We're
70
just
for Balls of
barely
Chaos.
not getting
But
a
the
medal.
Pinkies go up into third.
Okay, so as I
The
was saying,
official score on the last run.
as
gives
I was
them
saying,
the
so the
bronze.
Cobalts fired their coach Sapphire. She got fired
Goes
months
back to
ago.
back
And
wins
since then, they
gold in the
haven't had a
Marble League
coach.
And in the Marble League All-Stars.
This
Mellow Yellow
week,
get the silver,
it was
and
announced
Pinkies
that
get
the new
bronze.
coach of the Cobalts is Smokey, former Hazers, former Hazers fame. That's crazy. I was actually kind of surprised because this is the first time in Marble
In an
League
event like
history
this, the
that
Queen
someone
always rises.
from a team
And
has
we
moved
saw
to
it
another
here.
team
Multiple
without like a
marbles would have
merger or
broken
anything.
the old
Like the
Marble
only other
League
times I can think
record.
of stuff like this happening
79,
is when the
2-0.
Bumblebees and the
Fifth
Hornets
on up.
merged.
Would have done it.
I
But
cannot
it
think of a
took
single other time someone has moved from one team to
Untouchable
another.
86-0
So Smokey
for
from the
Team Momo
Hazers.
to claim the
That is
gold.
unprecedented. That is
They now
crazy.
sit atop the standings over Mellow Yellow and Limers.
We're in.
Savage
We fell
Speeders,
down a
Oceanics,
point,
Team Galactic,
but we're
and
still
Crazy
sitting in
Cat's
6th.
Eyes, Team Primary down in 8th.
So that's been the crazy Marble
What a jump.
League news of the
3
week.
up for Momo, 5
I,
up for
you know
Mellow
what? We're
Yellow.
not going to go sad boy hour here.
And that
Fourth
battle
place
for second
isn't
place,
terrible.
oh, so close,
I still obviously
as we
want
get
a
ready
medal,
for the duo
but fourth
half
place
pipe.
isn't terrible.
Picture this.
Oh, now it goes
Saving
away.
over 10% when you bundle your home and auto insurance.
Was it just an ad thing? Why the fuck was there? Was it a video, or was it like a video thing? Maybe. Was there something weird with that video? Why the fuck was there a bar there? I'm so
It seems like
confused.
mixing
Okay,
things
that's not
up has
confusion.
been a
I don't have
recurring
confusion, do
theme
I?
Of this special tournament, and it is no different here in event number 6. It's the duo half pipe in the Marble League All-Stars.
I don't
brought to you
remember how we
by
did on this one
Mint
during the
Momo.
season.
Hey everybody, I'm Greg Woods. We saw this event in the Big Marble
So
League.
yeah,
There was
right
only
now,
2
honestly,
teams going
outside
at
of the
a time.
Limers, the
I can
top of the
reveal
standings are
who
kind of
the
what I'd
8
expect.
marbles on each run
Momo,
of
Savage
this half pipe,
Speeders,
but it will
Mellow
only be
Yellow's
2
usually pretty
members per
good.
team, so we
Savage
get
Speeders, I
4
totally expect to be
teams
up on
per
top.
run.
Right?
You
They're
saw
the
standings
fucking
there,
Savage
Team
Speeders,
Momo leading
man.
the way over
The
Mellow
Rangers
Yellow
are
and the Limers.
way
Savage
farther down than
Speeders,
I'd
one of 3
expect.
teams up at the top who are
Same thing with the
dropping
Raspberry
along with the
Racers.
Oceanics.
I feel like the Raspberry
Team
Racers are
Galactic
way
right
farther
behind
down than I'd
They
expect
fell a
them to
spot,
be.
and the Cats,
Because
they're
usually
up
they're
to
pretty
7th.
good.
Team Primary in 8th.
Again,
Team
these
Maniacs, our
I say that
Cobras
because
here
these are the best
in
of the
9th.
best. At
The
least
Maniacs
most of
are
them.
in there along with the Hazers. Crazy Cat's Eyes.
I say that
and
like the
the
Limers
Wisps,
aren't in
and
fucking
down
4th
they come.
or 3rd.
Remember, it's all about those back 2 marbles. How long can they stay in the half pipe? In the battle to set the opening time, it goes to the Midnight Wisps. 21-7. Mix them around.
I'm assuming they do 2 runs.
Down they drop, and watch for the marbles to inch their way up toward the top of the half pipe. If you get that upward motion, that means hopefully you will stay on the longest. Minty Maniacs and Crazy Cat's Eyes are going to come across as their last 2 marbles, but where did their front 2 finish? And Crazy Cat's Eyes, 42.30. Set the bar across the first 2 runs.
Unless they
Everybody
do
else,
okay,
39
2 heats of
and
each.
lower. Savage Speeders, Balls of Chaos, Oceanics, and Mellow Yellow drop in now. And Mellow Yellow, they send one all the way to the wall, but we see that ricochet, and that marble is going forward. This is looking very good at the back for Balls of Chaos. Wow, they're going to coast on this one.
I have no idea what's a good time here as well.
And it will be a 21.48.
20, I guess, maybe?
Well clear of everybody else. Let's see
I guess
if
that's a
Mellow
very
Yellow
high
can
time.
Adjust.
So
and
probably, you
avoid
know,
the same
18 or
mistake
19
for a second time
is
in a
more
row.
reasonable.
This time, Savage
Probably a
Speeders, they
19.
position both of their marbles all the way at the top of the course.
Again, I'm not...
They
Maybe
are
that's a
going to
mistake.
win
Maybe
this
I'm
heat.
not aiming for
How
gold.
much is the
I'm
total?
just
Past
aiming for
11,
a medal.
12, not too
After
bad,
the season
but
we've
that
had,
first run
I'm just
let
aiming
them
for a
down
medal.
Slightly. Let's see if it was enough. Savage Speeders, 42.65, 24.22 the total.
Yeah,
That's
we
good
definitely
enough
want to
put
aim for
them
20.
in P1.
24 is wild. That might have... That might give them
The
it right
opening
there.
8 teams have
Even
set
though
their
those are 2
times.
very
What do the
close
remaining 8
times.
have?
All right, so normally I come
Yellow's
on and talk
excited
about how
to
I
the
bought
launch of our
marbles.
toy brand.
My
Start
random
off
thing
with our
this week,
Collector
though...
Series marbles, which
So,
includes 32 of our
back in,
most
like,
popular marble
2021,
teams. Or you can buy sets
they,
of 10 marbles, so you
they're
can have
called...
team races with one of our
what are they
Skyway
called?
Chase marble run sets.
Len
And to track their
Polygon
progress, you can
made
use
a
one
thing
of the
called a
5
D
competition
Ultimate.
racing brackets we've
It's a
included.
single
So come
dice
join the Yellow's Marble
that
Run
has
community
all
and let's
other
race.
faces of dice
Shop
on it.
now on
So, you know, the
yellowsmarbleruns.com.
D4, the D6, the D12,
This
the
large
percentile
half-pipe,
dice,
quite the undertaking for those
the
mint
D20,
local marbles
all
with
those
little
dice
cell
in a
phones that
single
are
die.
helping to
It's a really
review the track and
interesting
the track
dice.
surface,
And
radioing
I
back
kickstarted
to
it
the
years
control
ago,
center that
and it
everything
came in this week.
is
So
safe.
I now have this
And
giant
so it is
fuck-off
for
metal
this
dice
particular heat.
on my desk,
We go
and
as
it's
Team Ducks
so
and
just...
Team Galactic back
It's
to Team
very
Rangers.
heavy.
Everybody in lockstep right now. Good synchronicity.
Okay, we're in second.
Maybe not the
As long as we
times,
hit...
however, just barely
Hopefully we're in
ticking over
second.
into the
Yeah, we hit over
11-12
20.
range
That's good.
there.
We just have to do
Green
that
Ducks
one
with
more
a
time.
21.63. That's pretty good.
We just have to hit
for
over
Ducky
20
and
one more
Quacky.
time.
2 captains in the field right now. One of them is for the O-Rangers. And it's the orange team that is
Oh,
down
no.
the bottom. But look at Team
Oh,
Galactic.
no.
Their 2 marbles will finish first of everybody.
Oh, shit.
Green Ducks trying to
Well, there
recover,
goes
but they had
that.
an early out.
That was
Momo
awful.
was split. Let's see how their times shake out
Oh.
in this particular heat. And overall, Green
Yeah.
Ducks stood
Oh,
up
that
to
was
go into the
bad.
bronze medal position for right now.
I mean, we
as
still got
come
8th,
to
but
the
that was
final
not
heat.
good.
Heat D.
So yeah,
Run
I've got
one,
this D
Pinkies,
Ultimate,
Raspberry Racers, Limers,
and it's
Team
like
Primary.
it's basic
Marbles
size.
shouldering back
Imagine,
and forth to
I'd say it's like a
Limers
golf
and
ball
Team Primary.
size,
Lot of
maybe
contact up there
slightly
in the
bigger
upper
than a
part of
golf
the
ball,
half-pipe.
but it's a
Look at the gap
metal
for that
die.
second Raspberry
Because they were
Racer.
going to do plastic, and then they canceled
But
the
again,
plastic
early
ones
loss.
because they
How
just
much will
couldn't
that
get
drag
good
them
enough
down?
manufacturing for the plastic
22.47. That is
ones.
still respectable.
But they did the metal one. I've
That
got
should
it's a
give
white
them
die,
shot
and all
at
the
the
numbers are
podium
colored.
in the final run.
And it looks good. It feels nice.
Who will
It's
win
heavy.
gold in
It
duo
rolls a lot,
half-pipe?
so
The
you
first
definitely need like
iteration
a
of this
dice
event
box
that
to
we
hit
have
it
seen.
off of.
Last time it was 2 teams
But
per
yeah,
run.
is this going to be like a dice I
4.
actually
That much more
use?
chaos.
No.
The
It's more a
Limers trying to
novelty.
stretch
It's
it.
like the spinner one that I also got a few weeks ago.
We wait.
Because even though
For the
that
map.
project I backed like last year, the spinner dice came in like
Raspberry
3 weeks
Racers will
ago.
get the
This
silver
project I backed like
final
4
run
years
with
ago
a
finally came in this year.
42.58.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive for Raspberry Racers. So it's Savage Speeders,
And that means
Raspberry
the
Racers, and
Savage
Crazy Cat's
Speeders
Eyes.
will
Whole-
capture
that's-
gold
Honestly,
in
that's
this
kind of what I
Marvel
expected this
League
entire
All-Star
All Stars to
Duo
be
half-pipe.
like. I just maybe
Raspberry
I expected to
Racers
see
get
the
the silver,
Rangers more.
and Crazy
But the
Cat's
like
Eyes
I know
get the
I'm
bronze.
having an off year. The Rangers are having an even more off year. I think that's kind of what it comes down to. Is my year's not going good. Their year is going worse. Because at least I made it into the league.
The Savage Speeders, 42.65. One of 5 teams to break into that
we hit
42-second combo. Oh, yellow all the way down in 16th with a 37.
I wanted to at least hit 40, so that way we could be in, top 8.
That are adding their times across 2 runs. It's just amazing, the parity in this Marble League. So what does this do to the overall standings as we get toward the end of this event overall? Position yourself well here, and you've got a shot in the final 2 events, and the Speeders have done that. By 1 point, they lead Team Momo. They jump up 3 to do it. Limers in
that doesn't Savage Speeders winning a 3rd time. Wow, that doesn't surprise me at all.
3 as we get ready
that
for
sucks for
another
us,
slowdown event.
Let's look at the league. So upcoming in the near future, we have Funnel Endurance, which is tomorrow, and then we have Obstacle Run on the 12th. I knew Funnel Endurance had to be here. Again, I kind of wish All-Stars had been 50% winter, 50% summer. Right now, it's felt basically I know Funnel can happen any season, right? But it's just felt like just basically an extended winter season. I don't know. It's not that I hate the All-Star season. I mean, it's going better for us than the main league. But I don't know. If I want All-Stars, I kind of want, it's, of course, the best of the best teams. But I also want, the best of the best events. And this just feels like the events we did in the Winter League. I actually... how, for Mario Party, the top 100... how instead of polling the community to ask, hey, what's your 100 favorite mini games, the developers just kind of chose ones. That's kind of what this feels like. They just kind of chose some events. Whereas I think an All-Star season, that is, they ask the community, hey, out of every event, what are your top 8 favorite? And they just run those. That would actually be a really cool thing. But, it's whatever. It's the 10-year anniversary. I get it. Alright, I guess that takes us to the end. Let me sad boy. So here at the end... so what's coming up in the near future? Well, I want to roll my D Ultimate right now. What did I hit? I got a 19, a 90 on the percentile, a 5 on the D8, a 3 on the D4, a 2 on the D6, and an 8 on the D12. Honestly, I'll take that 19 and that 90. That's pretty good. It can be a little hard to read. I can kind of see that, right? Because there's so many faces. But yeah. So I have a desk mat. And you can kind of hear how it rolls on the desk mat. On the non-desk mat part, that's so much louder. Oh my god, this dice is so heavy and so loud. But and it came in a nice wooden box as well. It came with a card to read it, even though it's kind of obvious if you look at it. I'm really impressed with the, for taking so long, I actually really do like this D Ultimate. I think it's neat. But I've just been rolling it around all week. So what's coming up in the future? We are finishing Donkey Kong next week. We're in World 7. As far as I know, there are only 8 worlds. So we are near the end of Donkey Kong. We will probably finish it next week. Hopefully we can do it in 2 hours. I don't know. I've heard World 8 is a bitch and a half. So I am kind of scared there. But other than that, I totally think we can do it. And then after that, I think we're going to do Tropical... We're either going to do Celeste or we're probably going to do Tropical Freeze. Because, I want to move on to the next Donkey Kong. Because that's kind of why... That was my main reason for replaying Returns HD. Was because I wanted to play Tropical Freeze again. Because I haven't played Tropical Freeze since the Wii U days. And I do own it on Switch. So I've never played the Switch version of it, but I will now. So that's coming up. Other than that, I do want to do Echoes of Wisdom. but I think we're going to do that as like a stream. Instead of it being, you know, background gameplay for an episode of In Chat. I think I actually want to do Echoes of Wisdom as like an actual stream. Like where we're actually, you know, intentionally playing the game. And my goal to do that is in March. I don't know when in March, but at some point in March, we'll find the time. And we'll do like 2 8-hour streams. And just beat all of Echoes of Wisdom. We can probably beat that game in 16 hours. That sounds reasonable to me. I should actually enter some of these stores, see what's up. Even though there's never anything new in them. But yeah, those are the 2 things I kind of have coming up. More Donkey Kong, more of that. Of course, the Switch 2 Direct, but that's in April. That's still a ways away. Bad Lads Mercenary. That's actually not a bad tag. I do, at some point during one of these, we're going to do Mario Kart predictions. Because I do want to sit down and do, like, hey, I want to do, like, a tier list, but for Mario Kart 9 characters, Mario Kart 10 characters, Mario Kart X, Mario Kart Wonder, whatever the fuck we're calling it. I want to do, like, a tier list of, like, hey, these are the characters we know are in the game, these are the characters I want, you know, stuff like that. So at some point, we're going to sit down and do that before the April Direct. We will probably also do that in March at some point, but that will be an episode of In Chat. That will for sure just be, you know, very rarely, once in every, like, 6 months, instead of, you know, doing all the, you know, what I've been playing in the news, we just do a topic of the show, which I totally just, you know, usually it's something I steal from Kinda Funny, but, yeah. Not this time. This is my own idea. At least, it kind of is. But, I don't know, we'll do that sometime in the future. So yeah, I think with that, that's where we're going to end off. We will be back with more in the future. So I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.